Perfect. Thank you.
Love it when we get to share great information. Hey, Jimmy.
Morning. Sorry I was late. My dog had a spa day, so
Get to drop the dog off.
yes.
A spa day. I need one of those.
Well,
We should do that.
no, I wouldn't take you to my dog groomer. No. No. Although I'd be half the cost probably.
That's for sure. We're just sharing some wins. Nancy, you paid a really good life case last week.
Yeah, that was my good news for sure. It was unexpected and wasn't even on my list, but someone that I called that was new business, told me how much he loves after I mentioned life insurance. He said, I love life insurance. That's like, oh, I love you. Let's talk. You're my perfect candidate this week. So yeah, that was insane. I literally filled out the application with him in person on Tuesday. He did the medical interview Tuesday evening because I asked him to tell me how soon he got the medical interview, and it was something new and I would like feedback because of our meeting. And he actually texted me when it came through an hour after and ended up doing it that night. And then at 6:30 in the morning, the next morning on Wednesday, it said he's been approved the next morning. Like, awesome. Insane. I've never had that happen ever.
And that's the changes, right? That's the changes in the extension of accelerated underwriting to 2 million. And not that applied in the situation per se, but just they just what OJ said in our meeting. Like, they don't want to order APSs. They don't want to do medicals. They don't want to order blood, urine, all that stuff. They want it to be able to go off of sincerely answered questions, in the medical interview, and make a decision off of that. And what he mentioned too, which I thought was so, I keep thinking about when he said this, get the background as they get the medical interview. In the background, country is running script checks. They're running, electronic medical record to what they have access to, all those things that will complement or affirm all the data that they're getting from the client, right?
Yeah.
So, and if, yeah, and if, yeah,
everything matched up to what
it
he
did.
said. I didn't
Absolutely.
even have his other lines of business, so, and I also took into account that it was like the very last couple days of the month, so I did not think that would be the case, unless it was a slow month or something, and they were trying to get a push through, but, even when it got approved on Wednesday, I thought, oh, I'll never have it by Halloween, I'll never have the, shitter form.
Yeah.
But I did, and I actually drove over and gave it to him and had him sign it and brought it to him. And then went back and scanned it or uploaded it. That's the fastest way. And I think that was Thursday. It was literally like Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday said, hey, it's paid.
It's paid.
That's crazy. So, hey, nice little addition to the month. So, yeah, and it was $1 million policy, so it was a decent premium. So
it was good. It's a good boost, and a good experience. Like I know Country's goal is to have all of those do that. I mean, they don't like to have to, go through full underwriting and do all those things. They will, obviously. They want to provide life insurance to people, but they also don't want to spend so much time on those that are more on the healthy side.
Right. Yeah, he was 58. I mean, he wasn't that young to be doing it, but he said his work, he just recently got divorced, and then his other two, he had terms since like his daughter is now grown and they're about to run out. So that's like how the conversation went, and obviously full life would have been pretty expensive. So I just said, oh, well, we can see what a new term would be for another 20 years if that's what you need. And he said, yeah, absolutely. And I'd like to leave that to my daughter and all that. So it was like not at all one that I, like I said, that I would have been looking to do,
That's
not
awesome.
on my list, so, yeah.
Those will, the key to Nancy's success with this was that she talked about life insurance. And I always say as, our fearless leader is don't just talk about it, like really talk about it. But, especially this is, you never know who's going to be just like Nancy's client who, hey, I love life insurance. I
Yeah.
love it.
Yeah, and he's like a real estate investor, and he like later, he's like, oh, I have so many properties here. He's like, actually, State Farm won't write me anymore because you can't do more than 5. And he's like, that's how I got your number from my real estate agent. So he's like, I'll get you the list and maybe you can just insure everything for me, because he was so happy that I could do this one for him. And then he's like, oh, I'll just get you everything, So, I did a little game last week, like just with myself, that I was challenged myself to every single person I talked to. I was going to find a way to bring up life insurance and drop it in, no matter whatever else was the priority we were talking about. I was going to plant the seed, and I did it on him, and I like, look what came out of it. So if you could find a way to just talk about it, it was hard, some of them, but I was like, oh, and even if I said, and by the way, just so you know, we do commercial and we do life insurance and we do, so every single one I said something to, there were some other conversations that it led to as well. So that's my new thing. I'm going to say it every single time to every single person. So.
Did you get any of that stuff from Roger?
Nancy?
Huh?
Did you get any of those questions from Roger, like bringing up those situations, or did you just let it flow naturally and organically?
I let it flow, like I was definitely motivated by everything that Roger had to say. And so it was just my way of thinking when I got back, like it's been on my mind, like what am I gonna do? How am I gonna do it? Because I think everyone should do it genuinely. Like you got the life cereal, but I thought, okay, well, I don't know that I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna come up with something that's my personality. And on another note, one was really sad. One of my existing clients has like stage 4 liver failure. And so that was like the flip side of like a great week with having a great conversation to a week of having like a natural letting it flow, bringing it up, and her saying, well, what would I need to do? She wanting to know if she could get life insurance, and then let me know what she had going on medically. And it was devastating to hear. Like, you have 6 months to a year to live because you have liver failure and you're 38 years old and you have kids. Like, it was literally like wrecked my next day. So, you know what I mean? But then it was also like, I went home and thought, like, so this is your responsibility, Nancy. This is why, because that person literally is like going through something. How can you be doing your job if you didn't? You should have gotten with her sooner. Like, what if, 2 years ago? Well, I just started 2 years ago, but that just, I don't know, that like really got me. And she's devastated. She's trying to get on the transplant list. Oh, you have to go 6 months without a drop of alcohol. You can't even take Tylenol or ibuprofen for 6 months. And then if your other organs aren't failing, then you could maybe get on the transplant list. And I don't know how long the transplant list is for a 38-year-old who needs a new liver ASAP. It's just like an hour-long conversation just from me asking, and it was like, oh.
And see, that's the why, right? That's the why we do what we do, is allow that to settle with you in every conversation that you're having with your clients. And I say that for everyone else on the call too, is don't ever be so distracted or busy trying to fill other needs that you overlook that part of what we do. Because you don't want to be in the position Nancy's in right now, even though it wasn't, you can always look back, Nancy, and say, what if I had, what other chance did I get to get in front of her in the past 2 years? And it's not because you didn't call, all those things, like this isn't so you can blame yourself. There's no blame here. This is take it and just allow that to spur you on, just like it did, right? And the commitment that you have to all of your clients. So you mentioned something that just in my mind, like just created a tactic. And you mentioned planting seeds, right? And so Jimmy has the Life cereal box sitting on his desk. And to me, when you said that, I pictured in my mind looking like at your office, at your desk, having a cute little basket full of seeds, right? And using that because somebody's going to say, "Oh, what are these for?" Well, that's my job. I plant seeds, regardless of what. But we're going to talk about. I'm going to plant some seeds with you today, and you're willing to take one of those as you leave as well. You know, I mean, those are just little things that I think of how can you make sure that you're engaging the client and you don't forget. You look at the seeds all the time, and that's your job is to plant seeds, whether they're willing to cultivate them now or, you know, in the future. Have it helps in that conversation. So,
Yeah, I mean, she was somebody who was on my list and I did reach out to, and like you said, Christine, I mean, because at first, yeah, I was like, what could I have done different, you know, because it was bad timing. And I recollect our conversation, she had her two grandparents who raised her were living with her, and they died within a week of each other. And that happened at the time that I like what you said, don't stop. Like I didn't try hard enough because I did bring it up in a conversation and I tried to get her in her review, but like she obviously had awful things going on in her life. And it was all timing, but now she has even worse awful things going on in her life. To find out she's basically dying is like devastating to me. It just rocked my world. I was like, I feel horrible. Like, what can I do to help her? You know, is that something like, let's just say she survives this and gets a transplant? Is that something that country would consider when you? I have no idea what underwriting thinks of something like that. Like if they save you.
That's a great question. You could just for your own self, right? Get information, reach out to Life Team One and just say, hey, what are the guidelines with this type of medical situation for a client? Is that even something in the future? I don't know, 10 years. Like I don't know, that we would consider with our underwriting guidelines as they are written today. So
Yeah,
it's good information. Or if they say never, sorry, won't ever do it.
Okay.
You know, even with reinsurance, like you have to know too the back side of when we decline somebody, then it is an automatic decline within our guidelines if it's quick. But if it's not, if they go through full underwriting and then they say, okay, well, they're table rate G or F or whatever, you have to know and trust our underwriting department that they have gone out. We have 3 or 4 reinsurers. We're actually reinsurers for other companies too. And their guidelines might be a little bit different than ours. So we go out and we even, if we were going to table rate them anything, we try and see if there's another insurance company that will come in behind us, support, take some of the risk from us. And we might be able to offer them a little bit better because another company said, well, we're willing to reinsure, we're willing to insure this person for at this rating, and ours might be worse. We're going to take that one all day long and offer that to the client. Like we're going to, so we do everything possible. We don't want to decline business. But we also want to, you know, have it fall within our risk guidelines. So you guys, if you didn't know that, like, just know that there's reinsurance also that we go out to other insurance companies that have partnered with us to take on risk that we don't want to take on and vice versa. So, so those are the things, Nancy, like, I don't know on the reinsurance side, there might be, you know, some guidelines from a reinsurer that would say, no, that does fall within our risk, but here's what we would, you know, she would have to be, you know, whatever it would be, how many years. And so just reach out to Life Team One to find out if that's, you know,
questions for all of us, because like, what if someone has cancer and they're 5 years after and they are in technically in remission? Then consider that, so
Yeah.
like, got my mind thinking about all these different types of situations that there's probably a lot more that I don't know about.
And when we decline somebody, it's not even something a reinsurer would consider either. So
Yeah.
just know that it's not just our decision. It's also in the environment that we deal with life insurance, other companies fall within the same guidelines. Like, it's
Yeah,
a decline for a reason, and there's nothing we can do about it.
Okay.
So, I don't know, knowing those things help me, like when I was an agent, knowing that, no, the company's not, like, we have to make sure that we are solvent and financially stable and all of that. I will tell you, we're one of the only companies, two things, right? You have me on a soapbox right now. So two things, all right? We are one of, I think, two companies that if you set up your client with a permanent policy and it has cash value in there, we're one of the of two companies that don't recognize the loan if a client takes a loan off of a policy. All right. So you guys know what that means. Do you need extra explanation on that?
100%.
Yeah.
what it means.
So this is I use this all the time when I would talk about placing somebody in a permanent policy for, like, bank on yourself, or using it as we would never say for retirement or anything like that, but building up cash value for whatever reason that they wanted to use it for. And I'll give you an example. Myself, I have an IUL, right, and I'm using it as a supplement in a complement to the other savings and retirement plan pieces that we have. This is a great complement to it. And so what I do is I look all the time, because I'm like, all right, how much cash value, how much ability to loan do I have? What if I want to buy a new car? Why wouldn't I use it from my IUL and loan it to myself, pay cash for the car, and then pay myself back? Why would I use a finance company to do that? I want my IUL policy to gain all the interest that I would pay back into that policy, right? So it's creating that. Now, what happens is when I take, let's just say $20,000 of cash value, I say, country, I want a loan for $20,000 because it's available in my IUL, and country writes me a check for $20,000 off of my IUL cash value. Now, when they go to look and see, all right, how much interest are we going to credit Christine's IUL? They see the full amount in there. They do not see that I've taken anything out. We're one of only two companies that treat loans that way. So I get the full interest payment. I get all of that. Other companies that don't have that would say, oh, she only has $10 left because she took the full, $20,000. So we're going to credit her interest as if she has $10 in there. Country says, I'm going to credit the interest as if you have the full 20,000 still in there. Selling point.
Yeah.
Huge selling point for our life insurance, right? So now I'm trying to think, okay, what was the other thing that I was going to tell you guys, because I love that piece, like that not recognizing loans. All right, it'll come to me, the other one. There was something else that was really good about our life insurance, but that's the one piece where if you want to, if for some reason your client's like, well, what about this company over here? Well, do they recognize loans? Is that something that you would ever in the future set yourself up to want to take a policy loan, cash value? Well, you're going to want to work with a company that doesn't recognize that you've taken it out when it comes to paying dividends or interest. There.
So what if someone cancels it, Christine? Then is that loan having to be repaid? I know they have to pay the interest back, right? But what if they took, like, I have one client who doesn't pay her, so it keeps borrowing again to pay the payment, and then, like, I'm worried she's gonna just not gonna cancel. So if she does, will she owe the loan back at the end?
Right, so anytime they have the policy itself, they will loan only on cash value that's available, right?
Okay.
So, so she's not paying back the loan because
Oh, you're
the-
taking it out.
you're taking it out, so that the cash value that's still available is diminishing because she's not paying it back.
Oh.
At some point, the policy will be defunct if she doesn't
Right.
start paying more into it. So,
Okay.
yeah,
Or
it'll,
if you canceled or just stopped, there's no more money left for her to borrow.
Yeah.
She wouldn't get anything at the end of
Yeah.
it, she just lost.
there would be
it.
no death benefit, that the policy would not stay, in force.
Gotcha.
It'll eat itself up, basically.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. Those are on, my mom has an old universal life type that we used to offer. And it was a protective. So basically what we did was we did calculations of how many years she would have to, make the payment into that universal life policy. And at some point, there's enough cash value in there that every year now, the cash value will diminish because that will be making the premium payment. All right, so she's just at that crux right now. I just had this conversation with her on Saturday. She's like, I'm getting a bill that says I need to pay my life insurance. I go, well, Mom, that's because it doesn't say that you committed to paying this every single year, but we've ran illustrations and worked with your country agent, knowing that you have a protection, like it was a protective benchmark type of thing that they put in that policy, where at this year, which you have arrived at, cash value will now make those payments for you until you. And she goes, I am not gonna live till I'm 95. Like, kill me now if I live till I'm 95. So anyway, and at that point, if that is the case, then my brother and I will start continuing to make those payments on that policy because the death benefit is worth it, right? And it was all part of a structure that when I was an agent, we put her in, where she wanted, her effort was, I want to make sure that this, I think it was like $115,000, all right? So my sweet mother, who's been a widow for 35 years, I want to make sure that you and your brother get this money. And we're just like, Mom, we don't want your money. We don't want it. Like, go spend it, use it. So what we did was, what was in her retirement account that my dad left her, we calculated, hey, if she just took these required minimum distributions from that retirement account and made the payments to, so it's nothing out of her income that she was getting every year, right? It was just out of her, she had to require minimum distributions. She would take that and make the payment into the universal life policy. It worked perfect, all right? She now no longer has to make that payment. And what was in her retirement account, which was around $150,000, there's still, I think, $80,000 left in that retirement account. And we still have the $115,000 that will come to me and my brother upon her death. Right, so mission accomplished, and we weren't considering like growth and all that stuff in the $115,000, like whatever. So we put that together. My brother and I will split $115,000 upon her death, which is her wish. And then the fact that she still has money in that retirement account to spend, like my brother and I are like, spend the money, Mom, spend money. It's yours. So, those are just those fun type of situations that you get when you really uncover what does your client want? What is their goal? Like, what is their wish for their family in the future? And then we have all these different aspects of what Country's product really provides, and one of those is not recognizing loans. It's great. It's a great aspect. Sorry, I went off on a tangent. But hopefully that helps in conversation, Nancy, with, just making sure that you're talking about that life insurance with every single client.
Yeah,
Helping
no, it does.
plan.
Yeah.
I'm still trying to think of the other thing I was gonna mention. That'll come to me.
So I got a question. If a client already has life insurance and you're doing their annual review, would you review the life insurance as well? To-
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Okay.
And a review, like the car, Jimmy, is every single product they have with you.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
every product. And you go back and being a new agent into this, because I'm assuming this was an assigned client to you. So this involves every single one of you, right? In this situation is, hey, I didn't write this policy for you. Okay, so bring me up to speed on what the conversation was like when your agent wrote this for you. All right, what was your goal? What were you trying to accomplish? What was it? Why do you have this life insurance policy?
Right, because their needs could change, or maybe they weren't married, and now you're like, ooh, good time to update the beneficiary, or, oh, now we have children, and we wrote it, gosh, we didn't even have children. I'd like to leave this or that, so that's your perfect opportunity, Jimmy, for conversion too, which I'm sure you'll learn about, like if they have a permanent policy, they can convert, they get a letter. Isn't it every year, Christine, they get
Every
the letter?
year, and you want to catch them before they turn 65. Like that's 65 and whatever series of policy you have. Like that's the other thing is, what series do you have? Because the series changed at certain increments during country's history. So you need to know, and if you're not sure, you can send that policy to Life Team One, and you can ask, what are the conversion privileges for this policy? And they will say, well, this is a series, blah, 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 and here's what this looks like, and this client is or is not eligible for conversion.
I'm still working on that one that's a perm term split. Because now she's 55 and she's like, ooh, when I gave her an illustration for what a $50,000 permanent policy, she's like, ooh, 300 something a month. She's like, same thing, I didn't write it. She's like, I don't understand why the previous agent wrote it this way, and I wish we would have done that, like just different things that she's not super happy about. And so we're trying to come up with a solution.
Nancy, a lot of clients don't remember.
Right.
That's why every year when you let's just assume in a perfect world you were able to meet with every client every year into a car, all right?
Right.
And you bring up, all right, let's revisit, here's what I have in my notes. Let's revisit why I rewrote this policy the way we did. Or based on conversation with you, here's your focus and this policy fits into it. Here's what we talked about last year. And help them remember. Clients they forget, they don't remember, they say things that aren't true, all those things.
Yeah.
So it's good to have good notes. It's good to say, hey, here's what we talked about last year. Is it still the case? Like what has anything changed that we need to kind of equate into our formula of your life insurance plan?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's an emphatic absolutely, Jimmy. Yes. It's a good opportunity to have them think about it, and it spurs on the 80% of the time they will not remember why they have what they have. They won't remember. Right? And who even knows if it wasn't just, hey, 10 times your income, or hey, 500,000 sounds good. Like I'm gonna know. So this is where your expertise comes in, and you're able to help them position, hey, let's draw a line in the sand today. All right. Let's uncover what your need actually is. What do you want to have happen upon your death with this death benefit? As much as you would be able to control from the grave, right? Here's what I want my kids to do with it. Here's what I want them each to have, and this is where your client gets to have a say in that. You get to help them develop that. All right. Man, talked for 40 minutes. Some good, and we only got to, hey, what's great today? Like what good things about last week?
I told you I'm good at sidetracking conversation.
It's not sidetracking. Raise your hand if you've learned something today. Yes, Devin, we are imagining you raising your hand. So,
Yeah.
absolutely. And these are all these things like this is a great start to your week, right? To be able to implement and say, all right, just what Nancy said. This week I'm gonna talk to everybody about it because I would hate to be sitting in front of somebody that in 2 years will be in the same position Nancy's client was in, regardless of what the illness, but let's just put uninsurable label on them. Whatever it may be. And now is your time, like you have the chance today to be able to bring it up and to be able to say, hey, I'm just planting seeds. And know that if they come back and 2 years later, the same situation that Nancy was in, like Nancy, you should feel good the fact that you did talk to her about it. It was just bad timing on, life, a situation.
Hope said that as a blame. I mean, she's like, I know I should have made time to come in and talk to you sooner, but you're not now. But yeah, get your client list, know life. Start with the ones that don't have it, so you can plant the seeds, get the crops starting to grow, and then work on your other ones that do have it and see if you need to change it or revise it or add to it, or and then while the crops are growing, work on those who are going to get the people who don't have it, then they know the importance of it, and you're planting the seed with them to think about it. Usually something will trigger them. They're like, oh man, I need to call, And you can give them a little without details like I have, you can tell them a story like that. Before it's too late. You don't want to scare them, but I mean, a lot of people don't know they have something. Well, then they do. And then it's too late. They're uninsurable. So, yeah.
Great story. Thank you for sharing that, Nancy. Like that is so, you guys don't have to use your own stories to use other people's stories.
Terry, she was saying, they don't talk about that in school. They talk about protecting your heart disease, and wearing a helmet, protecting your brain. But she's like, they don't really talk about protecting your liver, or that maybe you have no control over. Maybe she didn't drink or smoke, but hereditary something happens and your liver fails you. It's like your filter. It is sad. Like we don't know those things, So definitely made me change my week, that's for sure.
Yeah. Well, that's why we do what we
High
do.
low.
All of you are so I just want to make sure you all know how important you are to your clients' lives, regardless of whether you truly believe that or not. I believe it 100%. You are pivotal in making life-changing decisions. And, I don't know, you may be sitting there going, oh, come on, Christine, that's a little overboard. No, it's not. It's not. And why is it that we prioritize a home policy or an auto policy when we're talking about life insurance?
It's true. I think life should be number one first. It's the first conversation.
And then you can tell them why. You can say, hey, here's why I'm having this conversation with you, regardless of whether you believe it's pertinent to you or not. This is my job. This is what I do for all my clients. And I start talking about this because this will make more of a financial impact than anything else we talk about should something happen, especially if you have children or a family or, whatever that may look like. So.
Well, we say protect what matters most. Well, does your house matter most or your life? What do you think matters?
For your family, right? For your
if you don't have your health, then you're not going to have your happy, you're going to lose all of that for your family. So why would that not be the very first thing that matters most to most people? If you don't paint the picture, maybe a lot of people just don't want to think about it because it's an awful thought to think like that. So they would just rather blast out and not talk about it. So yeah, lots to think about.
Well, that's the importance again. It's the importance of what you do, every single one of you on this call. What you do every day matters to your client, to the people that you're having conversations with, making an impact, changing somebody's life. There's been many of them changed because our agents have said the right things, help somebody be in a better position when tragedy strikes, regardless of whether it's a home burned down or it's somebody
Yeah.
lost their life.
Our obligation to them to do that for them and their families and their loved ones, for all of them.
All right, well, I'm gonna pivot to our Maxwell Daily Reader today, and it's so fitting after the conversation we just had. So today's is, and I'm not putting my glasses on, I'm just holding the book out further. Anyway, make yourself more valuable. We've talked about the phrase, you cannot give what you do not have. There are people who possess good hearts and the desire to give, if they have very little to offer. Why? Because they have not first added value to themselves. Making yourself more valuable is not an entirely selfish act. When you acquire knowledge, learn a new skill, or gain experience, you not only improve yourself, but you also increase your ability to help others. In 1974, I committed to myself to the pursuit of personal growth. I know that it would help me be a better minister, so I began to continually read books, listen to tapes, attend conferences, and learn from better leaders. At the time, I had no idea that this commitment would be the most important thing I would ever do to help others. But that has turned out to be the case. As I improve myself, I am better able to help others improve. The more I grow, the more I can help others grow. The same will be true for you. From 25 Ways to Win with People. To make yourself more valuable, take steps to expand your knowledge, your experience, or your skills today. So you can take that with the conversation we just had and making sure you're getting better equipped, more knowledge about how we can better help and position our clients with life insurance. Take it with that, because like I said, the interactions that you guys have with people every day are so important. I hope you truly believe that about who you are and what you do, and what's the word I'm looking for? The chance or the interaction that you get to have with people. What else? We got 10 minutes left. What hurdles, what obstacles are you facing this week? Any
I was talking,
that I know about that?
yeah, I was talking to Nancy a little bit about this before everybody else jumped on, but my assistant started next Monday, so she'll be coming on then, and I've been trying to be as prepared as I can before she comes in, have the things I want to work on with her, and I know, I know Jimmy's kind of helping somebody, but it's a little different because they've been with Country before, and but I guess my thing is does anybody have any pointers of these are and this is more of a systems thing, but we're making sure they have access to all the trainings and all of that. Is there a checklist somewhere of all the stuff that they have to do to get fully into it? Is it part of do they get kind of we got the new agent, trainings on the development center? Do they get that same kind of thing? Because I get all the login emails and I get all this to help get her set up in her laptop. Thank God, got to the office before she did. So it wasn't
Oh,
needing
good.
a laptop for 3
Yeah,
days
really.
when she started. But I want to make sure I'm fully prepared so that I can utilize her time in the most valuable way possible, rather than a lot of sitting around twiddling thumbs when she first starts. So just if anybody has any tips, I'd appreciate it. Or oh, go check this out. Or hey, there's this site you gotta look at.
I got one, Jeremy. Did you get your service pen done yet?
That's on my docket today.
That-
About that when we were talking last week. It's I got into that, and so it's on my list of things that are.
Yeah, with the IT, that was the big issue, that we were going round and round and round circles. And luckily Christine was nearby, or else we would have been up a creek without a paddle. So,
That's the last, I'm like, oh no, and that's why I had Kelly send that out, was making sure you guys have your own service pin. And even at that, the service pin is 5 digits. And even I don't remember, oh, is it 5, is it 6, is it 4?
Oh.
I have the same number, right? But anyway, the gal was like, that's not right, that's not right. And I'm like, oh my gosh, how many digits is it? And she told me, and I go, okay, well, here it is. I'm like, can't you tell that I gave you 6 digits? Take the first 5 then. That's my point, right? I'm like, oh my word. But yes,
I was here just long enough to see the last like 3 or 4 months of in-house IT in Illinois before that ended. And man, was that a good 6 months when I asked questions.
and she kept telling me, she goes, recall Christine, recall the pin. I'm like, oh my gosh, if you say that to me one more time. But the other part of it, Jeremy, that I would, so you got the email from Maddie Groves. Yes.
That's,
Think so. Let me check. It's been a lot of emails this week.
Right, so Jimmy, did you receive that one?
yes,
Yeah,
that's what I was gonna tell you, Jeremy, to
So,
reach out
I
to
don't
Maddie
know.
as
Yeah,
well
I
for the
don't
new
know.
agent.
So I don't yet.
And
she'll send it to you, or just reach out to her.
yeah, let me see.
She's a huge conduit, so she's a huge conduit when it comes to assistance for your own training. She is our training support specialist. So regardless of whether you're bringing on an associate agent, a team member. Her, regardless of the role, have access to for training.
Perfect. Okay, so I'll send her an email this morning. Kind of stats for the same thing as everybody. And then is that email you were mentioning? Is it just one that has like all of her what she has to do to
All
get
the links.
everything? Okay.
All the links.
And there's a checklist, print out the checklist.
Mhm.
Because she doesn't have to do all of them, but pick out maybe the priorities of what to start with. There's a lot of them
Yeah.
are like farm and stuff you probably don't need to do right away, you know?
Yeah, and it's like my big ones. I need her to do what she can actually help. Like rep texting is big because I need her to be able to interact with the clients, and then
Get
it's
access.
just the CRM stuff because she's not going to be as much of a production assistant at start, more of just an office assistant. It'll probably be like several months before she's feeling comfortable enough, because she's 21 and never done anything more with insurance than ask her mom for her auto ID card. So it's gonna be
So you have
but
the level up site,
Mhm.
right, is where there's a ton of the stuff there, and also the sales team toolkit. All right, so those are two other sites, all accessible from agency resources,
And I've
of
been-
agency news.
I've been looking into those to try to because
Yeah.
I like a lot of the resources that the company has, but there's things that they don't have on there like things like asking if there was what was it? I was just going through this trying to look at their quote intakes and like what I actually want. One of the big ones was questions about animals. Like it didn't really have enough info about animals. It didn't ask it didn't go in depth on the heating. It didn't have wood stoves and outbuildings, which is huge.
For sisters,
I've had
absolutely.
two clients already
Yeah.
that had to undo a food pipe in their outbuilding to get ready for heating. So, that's the kind of stuff I love a lot of what I check back into, but I've been using the sales toolkit.
Yeah.
So
I just sent you an email, Jeremy, of what Maddie sent me, so you can kind of get a head start on that as well. And it was exactly what Christine said, but at least there's clickable links in there too to take you through all that stuff.
Very good, you guys. Well, I hope that you feel this has been a productive conversation today. And I feel like y'all still keep showing up. So it's, hopefully these Monday mornings just kind of give you a little bit of a boost. Moving forward, I don't know if I haven't already, there's a couple that I'm gonna need to cancel. The week of Thanksgiving, I'll be on PTO. So you all are welcome to continue to get together. Just know that I won't be there. And then December 1st, I will be on an airplane to St. Louis, so going to ALC, so I won't be able to be on that one either. So a couple weeks, not having you on the call, but if you all want to get together, you're more than welcome to do so. But I think these are hugely valuable. I love connecting with you guys on Monday morning. It helps me in my week just get a good start and knowing that you guys are grinding it out. So, let me know if there's anything additional that you need my support with, but I hope you all have a great week. And I'm here.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Bye.
Bye.